Mike and I met in our doctoral program, but worked together in like a remote space. So he was on our satellite campus, I was in our main campus. And we started publishing together, having never met in person. And so we just started writing, journal articles. We started really aligning. He works, in the corporate space, and I went into academia. And so we took this kind of scholar practitioner approach to our writing. And this kind of all started back in like 2007 to 2009 timeframe. And so over the years, we've done conference proceedings, we've done a lot of work together, professionally. We talked about writing this book. And what's interesting is the book kind of took a different shape and form. And I think this is just kind of life, right? That when you let things happen, it's easy to escalate commitment to like your first imagination of what something will look like. And I think we've seen this in our work together over the years. But this really came in inspiration, my goodness, really in my consulting space in Mike's company, where we were seeing a lot of like storytelling and ways that we can underlie learnings from the scholar practitioner space to really motivate and fuel action, but I think to direct attention in just more human ways, as opposed to taking a full scholarly approach. So Mike and I can get lost in talking about all of the scholarly things that just make sense in our brains, right? And people are like, shut up. I don't want to hear that. I want to talk about it. And so Mike has this really creative side to him and said, what about an actual story? And so it was kind of born. So I live in Pennsylvania. He lives in Florida. And we were in Chicago, both for business, and kind of got together over dinner and just started to brainstorm in person how we could take the imagination of work over time. And we kind of started, a table of contents, and we had like, an underlying leadership theories that we wanted to include. And this is kind of where this was born, as we were thinking about bees and the connection to the beehive, and, how we're thinking about cultural transformation. And so it was really like a long time discussions that kind of came to this creative space. And it felt like from that conversation, everything just clicked and flowed to what the story is today, which is really, it's a leadership fable, but has this undertone of, seminal, leadership work, but also in the space of thinking about how like deep level diversity and like personality and behavioral attributes kind of inform cultural transformation. So we made this connection and this connection to bees and learning about how bees pollinate and, how you can kind of create this in your organization.
You became bee experts on the way to writing a book.
And we have so many pictures of like visiting beehives, really, and connecting with beekeepers to learn. And even we were like surprised, because you think about bees as a bad thing in a lot of ways. And I think seemingly in organizations, we could think about things like change or change agents, right, in bad ways. And so it kind of flips your thinking on how we pollinate and how we kind of create a thriving hive, as we use in the book.